Good day everyone. We are the group 5 and we're going to discuss about the dance helical model.
So the table of contents, this is our topics that we tackle. Number 1, introduction to the dance helical model of communication. Number 2, the dynamic and continuous nature of communication. Number 3, the cumulative nature of communication. Number 4, nonlinear communications and the feedback mechanism. 5, advantage and disadvantages of dance helical model. And lastly, applications of the dance model in real life.
In 1967, Frank Dance came up with a communication model called Dance Helix model to help improve how people communicate with each other. The word helical in the model's name comes from the shape of a helix, which is a wire wound around a cylinder or cone in 3 dimensions. Dance model shows that communication is a dynamic and non-linear process, meaning it is always changing. It doesn't allow a follow straight line. This model helps us to understand that communication is complex and involves various factors that interact with each other in different ways. So, Dan's helix model is a way to visualize and understand the communication process better. Theory. Dan's model emphasized the difficulty of communication. Frank Dance uses the form of a helix to describe the communication process. He developed this theory based on a simple helix which gets bigger and bigger as it moves or grows. The main characteristic of a helical model of communication is that it is evolutionary. So yeah, Frank Dance came up with a way to explain how communication can be tricky. He used a helix which is like a spiral shape to show how communication evolves and grows. Imagine a small spiral that keeps getting bigger as it moves forward. This is how Dance's model of communication works. It shows that communication is always changing and developing over time. So the helical model of communication is all about how communication evolves like spiral getting bigger and more complex as it is progresses. So why it is important to understand? Number 1, understanding the dynamic nature of communication is crucial because it assesses individuals in adapting communication styles based on feedback, context, and evolving situation. Communication is nonlinear and continuous, which helps navigate complex interaction effectively. Number 2, recognition of communication's dynamic nature enhances flexibility and responsiveness because it fosters creativity in both interpersonal relationship and professional settings. The helix model communication differs from linear models is that it portrays communication as dynamic, nonlinear, and continuous. Linear models typically depict communication as a one-way process from sender to receiver, where Dan's helix model emphasizes the importance of feedback, context, and the evolving nature of communication. The helix metaphor in Dan's model highlights the ongoing growth and development of communication, in contrast to the more simplistic and static nature of linear models.
Good day, everyone. Building on what Ms. Sofocado has just explained about the dance model of communication, I'll be diving deeper into a fascinating aspect of this model, the dynamic and continuous nature of communication. Let's begin by thinking about how we communicate every day. Imagine a simple conversation with a friend. You start by saying hello, and then the conversation flows from there. You might talk about what you did yesterday, share a joke, or even make plans for the weekend. But here's the key. Your conversation doesn't just happen in a straight line. It evolves, grows, and changes direction based on what you and your friends say to each other. And this is exactly what the dance model illustrates. In this model, communication is represented by a helix or spiral, rather than a straight line. This spiral shows that communication is a dynamic and ongoing process. It's never static or fixed. Instead, it's always moving and developing. So as you can see in this diagram, the helix starts small but gradually expands, symbolizing how our communication starts simple but grows in depth and complexity. It also shows that communication is continuous and it doesn't really have a clear beginning or end. Instead, it's a process that's constantly evolving as we interact with the world around us. Let me give you an example. Imagine a child learning to speak. At first, they might only know a few words like mama or dada, but as they grow, they learn more words, start forming sentences, and eventually they're able to express complex ideas and emotions. This is a perfect example of dynamic communication. The child's ability to communicate evolves over time, becoming more sophisticated with each new experience. Let's consider another real-life example. Think about your relationship with your friends or family. The way you communicate with them now is different from when you first met or when you were younger. This is because your communication has been continuously shaped by our shared experiences, emotions, and feedback from each other. Now, why is this important? It becomes clear to us that communication is more than just information exchanged when we acknowledge its dynamic nature. It's about establishing connection, finding solution to issues, and adapting to new situations. Just as each helix loop in the model increases its complexity, so does every interaction we have with others.
Okay, so we are now in the cumulative nature of communication. It emphasizes the helical communication model, which views communication as a continuous spiral of interactions that accumulates meaning and context over time. Each communication act is influenced by past interactions and contributes to future exchanges. This model reflects the cumulative nature of human communication, where each conversation builds upon prior knowledge, experience, and cultural context. To further understand how communication accumulates knowledge and experience, let's tackle these keywords. So first keyword we have here is shared meaning. Communication allows individuals to share thoughts, ideas, and perspectives, creating shared meaning and expanding the knowledge based on both parties involved. Next, we have here the feedback and learning. This emphasizes that communication is an interactive process involving feedback. Feedback helps individuals learn from mistakes, clarify misunderstandings, and deepen their understanding. This learning process contributes to the accumulation of knowledge and experience. Next, we have here is cultural exchange. The importance of communication from cultural exchange, it highlights how interacting with people from different cultures allows individuals to learn about new perspectives, values, and customs, which in turn expand their knowledge and understanding of the world. Next, we have here is problem solving and decision making. This is also important in communication for problem solving and decision making. It highlights how sharing information and discussing different opinions helps in developing effective solutions and making informed decisions, leading to the accumulation of knowledge and experience in these areas. Lastly, we have relationship building. This is one of the established relationships that highlights the interaction with others leads to trust, understanding, and empathy, which form the basis for future communication and contribute to the accumulation of knowledge and experience through shared perspective and experience. Now, the question is, how can we illustrate how past interaction influence present communication? Consider a workplace scenario where teammates or team members collaborate on a project. And of course, in the group, there will be initial interaction. The team holds a meeting to discuss project goals and share their ideas. Next is we have subsequent discussions. In following meetings, team members refers back to previous discussion, build on ideas, and adjust proposal based on the feedback. Lastly, we have the cumulative effect. Over time, the team develops a shared understanding of the project, leading to more refined and effective communication. The dense helical model of communication summarizes the dynamic and cumulative nature of human interaction. It illustrates how past experience shape current and future communication through a continuous spiral of understanding and relation development. How can we relate the real-life examples showing the accumulation of communication experience? The real-life examples outline the process of language learning, starting from early communication and progressing through accumulation and feedback. It also discusses the development of social skills, including initial interactions, observation, practice, adaptation, and accumulation of communication strategies and social skills. The Helical model finds practical use beyond academic discourse, providing invaluable insights in diverse real-life situations. Two prime examples of Helical model in action are language acquisite and workplace communication. In both cases, the model emphasized the importance of continuous interaction, learning, and adaptation as keys to effective communication. A comprehensive understanding of the Helical model and its key components allows individuals to enhance their grasp of communication, applying its principle to various aspects of their lives. This model is useful for enhancing communication skills and promoting more effective and meaningful interactions with others. The high importance of the Helical model of communication emphasizes the significance of the context in shaping message interpretation, enhancing feedback mechanism, and facilitating mutual understanding and supporting relationship development. Contextual factors such as culture, environment, and social dynamics significantly impact communication, contributing to the dynamic nature of interaction. Understanding the context allows for deeper insights, adaptations in communication strategy, and the promotion of mutual understanding. Additionally, the model's flexibility enables its application across diverse communication settings, emphasizing the vital role of the context in effective human interaction.
The nonlinear communication and a feedback mechanism. Nonlinear communication is a complex process where the relationship between the sender and receiver is dynamic and constantly evolving. It involves multiple feedback loops and interactions that can significantly influence the message's meaning and impact. Helical nature of communication. The helical model emphasizes the helical nature of communication. The helical model highlights the interconnectedness of ideas and emotions, emphasizing that communication is not a series of isolated events. It revisits ideas and emotions through feedback loops, self-reflections, and contextual shifts. These are the types of feedback in nonlinear communication: verbal feedback, nonverbal feedback, and behavioral feedback. Impact of feedback on communication outcomes. It may help to clarify misunderstandings. It may help deepen understanding, build relationships, and create new meanings from a different perspective. These are some examples of nonlinear communication with feedback: social media discussion, face-to-face conversation, and counseling sessions.
Now, let's go to the topic about advantage and disadvantage of dance's helical model of communications. So, these advantages stem from its emphasis on the dynamic, continuous, and cyclical nature of communication processes. So, let's explore some of the key of advantages of dance's helical model. So first, reflects real-life communication dynamics. Unlike linear models that oversimplify the communications process by depicting it as one-way flow of sender to receiver, from sender to receiver. The helical model reflects the complex and dynamic nature of real-life communications. It acknowledges that communications involves reciprocal exchanges of messages, feedback loops, and continuous interactions between communicators,
which more accurately represents how communications unfold in everyday interactions. The second one encourages active participations. So, the helical model encourages active participations from both senders and receivers of messages by emphasizing dynamic interactions and feedback loops. The model promotes engagement and collaborations between communicators, leading to more meaningful and effective communications outcomes. The third one facilitates mutual understanding. Through its emphasis on continuous interactions and feedback, Dance's model facilitates mutual understanding between communicators. By incorporating feedback into the communications process, misunderstanding can be addressed and clarifications can be sought, leading to enhanced comprehensions and shared meaning. Fourth one, adaptable of different contexts. Dance's helical model acknowledges the influence of context on communications and can be applied to various communications contexts, including interpersonal communication, group communications, organizational communications, and mass communications. Its flexibility allows it to be adapted and applied in diverse settings, making it a versatile framework for understanding communication dynamics. Fifth one promotes relationship building. By recognizing communications as continuous and evolving process, the helical model promotes relationship building between communicators. Through repeated interactions and feedback exchanges, individuals can develop trust, rapport, and mutual respects, fostering stronger interpersonal connections and relationships. Supports conflict resolutions. Dance's models provide frameworks for addressing conflicts and resolving misunderstanding through open and honest communications. By revisiting and revising communications patterns, parties involved in conflict can engage in constructive dialogue, clarify intentions, and work towards resolving differences, leading to improved conflict resolutions outcome. Now, disadvantages of Dance's helical model of communications. So, these drawbacks stem from its complexity, potential oversimplifications, and applicability in certain contexts. So let's explore some of these disadvantages of Dance's helical model. First one, complexity. The helical model introduced a level of complexity to understanding of communication processes. It emphasizes on continuous interactions, feedback loops, and contextual considerations may be challenging for individuals to grasp, especially those with limited background knowledge in communication theory. This complexity can make the model less accessible and practical for some users. Second one, limited predictive power. Unlike some other communication models that provide clear, step-by-step frameworks for understanding communication processes, the helical models emphasizes on continuous interactions and cyclical patterns may limit its predictive power. While the model offers insight into how communications unfold over time, it may not provide specific guidance on predicting communications outcomes or behavior in certain situations. Third one, lack of prescriptive guidelines. Dance's helical model is descriptive rather than prescriptive, meaning it describes communication processes as they occur without offering specific guidelines or strategies for improving communication effectiveness. While the model highlights the importance of feedback and adaptations in communications, it may not provide actionable recommendations for individuals seeking to enhance their communication skills or resolve communication challenges. Overemphasizes on feedback. While feedback is a crucial component of the helical model, its overemphasizes on feedback loops may overlook other important aspects of communications, such as messages encoding, decoding, and channel selections. In some cases, communicators may rely too heavily on feedback without considering other factors that contribute to effective communications. Next is difficulty in measurement. The helical models focus on qualitative aspects of communications, such as interactions, interpretations, and adaptations, may pose challenges for measurement and empirical research. Unlike models that incorporate quantifiable variables and observable behaviors, Tansen's model may be more difficult to operationalize and test empirically. Last is no, not last. Next is potential for misinterpretation. Due to its abstract and conceptual nature, the helical model may be susceptible to misinterpretations or misapplication by users. Without a clear understanding of its underlying principles and assumptions, individuals may apply the model inappropriately or draw incorrect conclusions about communication processes. Limited applicability in certain contexts. While the helical model is applicable in various communication contexts, its emphasis on continuous interactions and feedback may be less relevant in certain one-way communications, such as public speaking or mass media communications. In this context, linear models or other frameworks may provide a more suitable approach to understanding communication dynamics. So, overall of disadvantages, while Frank Tanz's helical model of communications offer valuable insight into the dynamic nature of communication processes, it also has limitations and disadvantages that warrant considerations. As with any communications model, it is important to critically evaluate its strengths and weaknesses and consider its applicability in specific contexts. Now, imagine. Imagine a helix, like a spiral staircase, representing the continuous and dynamic nature of communications. So the helix has two intertwined strands, symbolizing the interactions between communicators. Now, along the helix, there are four keys. There are four key points: annotations, interpretations, response, and feedback. These points represent the stages of the communication process, with each interaction building upon the previous one, leading to deeper understanding and mutual adaptations between communicators. Additionally, the helix is surrounded by arrows pointing both upward and downwards, illustrating the cyclical nature of communications and ongoing evolutions of interactions over time. Applications of Dance's helical model of communications. First, interpersonal communications. So, the helical model offers valuable insights into interpersonal communication dynamics, highlighting the importance of continuous interactions and feedback in building and maintaining relationships. By understanding the cyclical nature of communications, individuals can enhance their communication skills and foster deeper connections with others. So, I'll give an example of interpersonal communications. Now, let's consider a conversation between two friends planning a weekend trip. So, two friends planning a weekend trip. So, The first one initiates the conversation by suggesting the trip or idea of going on a trip. So, si friend 1, she suggested that maligo sila sa Siargao. So, ang tawag niya is initiations kay siya man ang nag-first nag-initiate sa conversations. Siya ang nag-suggest. Now, si friend 2 is the other friend interprets the suggestion based on their interests, preferences, and availability. So, ang tawag sa iya is si interpretations. So, si interpretations is mag-ingon siya na ay, kasi like example, si annotation, suggesting the idea of going on a trip. Example rin sa conversation na, si friend 1, ayun siya friend, what if maligo ta sa Siargao? Ba? So, siya si initiations, kay siya man ang first nag-initiates, and she is the one that's suggesting the idea of going on a trip. Now, mutubag si friend 2. So, pagtubag ni friend 2, ang tawag na saya is interpretations. So, interpretations is that a suggestion based on their interests. So, mag-ingon si interpretation sa friend 2 na, no, pwede po na maligo ta sa Siargao kay tsada ra bang taga dito, diba? So, na-interest kay ang interest niya is ang dagat. Now, si friend 1, si friend 1 mo respond siya sa suggestion ni friend 2 na mag-ingon siya na, oo no, maganda, pero what if medyo layo magud ang Siargao, so what if sa doon na lang ta? So, si friend 1 na nag kay friend 2, ang tawag na saya is response. So, response is the friend that responds by expressing enthusiasm and suggesting potential destinations. So, maging siya na, what if layo manggod pero tsada po ang dagat sa Siargao. So, pwede sa doon na lang tamaligo. Ay nga na. Pwede sa na lang sa Sikihor. Diba? Ay nga na. Kaya mas doon man ang Sikihor. So, siya si response. So, tubag si friend 2. Mingon siya na mag-share siya thoughts about sa maggamitan niya logic na mga siya na, ay, may pa. Sa Sikihor na lang ta kay doon raman. Then, mas barato pa ang nato sa expenses nato sa pag-commute, diba? So, siya si feedback. So, feedback is the first friend provides feedback by sharing their thoughts on the suggested destinations and discussing logistics. So, maato. I'm hoping that ma-understand ninyo ang akong example. Now, let's go to the second one, which is organization communications. So, in the context of organizations, the helical model can be applied to understand how communication flows within and between different levels of the hierarchy. So, by recognizing the interconnectedness of communications processes, organizations can improve internal communication strategies and promote collaboration and innovations. So, I give an example of organization communications. So, imagine a team meeting to discuss new project at works. So, in sessions, the team leader initiates the meeting by outlining the objectives and agenda. The interpretations is a team members interpret the information presented based on their roles, responsibilities, and expertise. The response is a team members response by asking questions, providing input, and discussing ideas related to the project. Si feedback is the team leader provides feedback by addressing questions, summarizing key points, and clarifying expectations for the next steps. Conflict resolutions. The Helical model provides a framework for resolving conflict by emphasizing the importance of revisiting and revising communication patterns. By engaging in open and honest dialogue, parties involved in conflicts can address underlying issues and work towards mutual understanding and resolutions. Media and technology. In today's digital age, the Helical model can be applied to analyze how communications unfold through various media and technological platforms, from social media interactions to virtual meetings. Understanding the cyclical nature of communications can help individuals navigate and make sense of complex communications landscape. So, I give you an example of media and technology. So, um, example, let's consider a television news program covering a current event. So, online na lang. So, online communication. So, example, imagine a discussion thread on a social media platform about controversial topics. So, initiations is a user initiates the discussion by posting a comment or questions related to the topic. So, tiba, uso man tong mga kanang mag-vlog bitaw, mag-vlog. Tapos, before sila mag-pick of questions, diba, mag-post mo na sila sa Facebook or Twitter na suggest question. Diba? So, maotot siya si initiations. Ang kanang mag-post bitaw, mag-post sa social media or kanang question related sa gusto nilang topic sa ilang vlog. So, si interpretations is the other users interpret the initial post and subsequent comments based on their own viewpoints and experiences. So, example, ako, nag-post ko. So, I am the interpretations. I am the initiations kaya nag-post ko. Akong gi-post is, mag-vlog ko, ang say tsada na i-video. So, I am the initiations. So, na mag-comment. So, ang mag-comment ay si interpretations. Interpretation siya kay interpretations is the interpret and the initial post subsequent comments based on their own viewpoints and experiences. So, mag-comment siya. May pa ka nang mukbang. So, she share her viewpoints. So, siya si interpretations. Si response. Response is a user response by posting their opinion, sharing relevant information, and engaging dialogue with others. So, si response, pwede siya na siya kanang mo reply sa katong nag-comment. Diba ang comment? Ang comment is dahil may pa magmukbang ka. So, isa ka users na mag-reply sa iyang comment na, oy, pati man ang mukbang kay makuha niyang basin sobra ay masamang sobra. Diba? So, siya si response. Response is a users response by posting their opinions, sharing relevant information, and engaging in dialogue with others. So, si feedback naman is users provide feedback by reacting to posts, liking, or on comment. Si feedbacks is a users provide feedback by reacting to posts, liking or commenting on comments, and expressing agreement or disagreement with various viewpoints. So, example, nag-post ko. So, ang feedback dito is nag-like siya. So, that is feedback. Again, feedback is a users provide feedback by reacting to posts, liking, or commenting on comments. So, same ra gapon ang gigibuhat ni initiations interpretations ug ni response. So matawag gyapon siyang feedback kay nag-feedback man siya kang initiation. So which is ako nag-feedback sila sa ako sa akong gi-post online. So that's it. It's now. So in the early stages of relationship, communication is often simple and focused on basic information exchange. As the relationship depends, communication becomes more complex, incorporating shared experiences, personal values, and emotional connections. The second is building trust and intimacy. So the model highlights the importance of a trust and intimacy in communications. As individuals share more of themselves and build a trust, their communication becomes more open and authentic. So this allows for deeper understanding and stronger emotional bonds. Third one, resolving conflicts. The model also emphasizes the role of communications in resolving conflicts. By understanding the dynamic nature of communications and the impact of past experiences, individuals can approach conflict resolutions with more empathy and understanding. This can lead to more constructive dialogue and stronger relationships. Now, how the model applies to learning and development. So, student learning processes, the model illustrates how student learning progresses from simple concepts to more complex ideas. As a student gain knowledge and experiences, their communication skills develop, allowing them to engage in more sophisticated discussions and critical thinking. Next is the teacher-student interactions. The model highlights the importance of interactions between the teachers and students. Through continuous dialogue and feedback, teachers can guide student learning and help them to develop their communication skills. This interactive process allows for deeper understanding and more effective learning. Last is the collaborative learning. So the model emphasizes the role of collaborations in learning. By working together, students can share their knowledge, challenge each other's perspectives, and develop more comprehensive understanding. This collaborative approach fosters a dynamic learning environment that encourages growth and development. So the applications in professional settings. The helical dance model is also highly relevant to professional settings, particularly in workplace communications. It emphasizes the importance of clear communications, effective collaborations, and continuous learning. So, the conclusions of our topic is that Frank Dunn's helical model of communications offer a comprehensive framework for understanding the dynamic and continuous nature of communications. By conceptualizing communications as a spiral process, thus highlights the interconnectedness of interactions and the influence of context in the communications process. The helical model has widespread applications across various domains, including interpersonal communications, organizational communications, conflict resolutions, and media studies. As communication continues to evolve in an increasingly interconnected world, the insights provided by the helical models remain relevant for understanding and navigating complex communications dynamics. Frank Duns included the concept of time in his theory. So the lifetime experience gained over the issues will always be based on the similar incident happened in the past according to him. This theory of communication was subject to a number of experimental researches. Even though this model of communications clarifies everything, there is a problem of oversimplifications. According to this theory, a communication process is a product of what we learn. And that's all. to to my group, and thank you for the listening.